Welcome in the box. I'm Rico Gibson. Hey, man, we got a great show tonight. I got Rosco Hill here, Rosco Hill Sr., legendary boxing trainer. And he trained the champ, George Foreman. Be right back.
Fundamentals and building blocks. Turn to advice when I'm in that spot. When I got questions, and that's a lot. Perfect time to hear from Rico in the box.
All right. Give a second here. I'm gonna try to get this shared out. Give me a few minutes. We're gonna be bringing Roscoe on. Give me 1 second here. Let me try to share this out. All right, let me see here. Make sure, man, I'm live already. Yep. All right. So I want to make sure I share it out. Let me go ahead and hit this on Instagram as well. All right. We here. Good job. All right. All right. We had to kind of, man, get some stuff set up. Check this out, though. So if you're just not joining or you're watching, I had to kind of switch my Facebook account. So this is another Facebook account that I had. So if you hadn't had opportunity, make sure you add me Rico Gibson as well. But without further ado, we're going to bring up the man, the myth, the legend, the boxing trainer. Man, he's full of knowledge. And he's going to share with us, man, tonight, not only techniques and training, we're going to talk a little bit about his journey. And we're going to talk about, man, boxing in itself, man. So for all the boxing lovers, here we go. Rosco Hill. What's going on?
What's going on, Rico? How you doing, baby?
Hey, going on good, man. Glad to have you, man.
Oh man,
what's going on? How you feeling tonight, man?
Oh man, I'm blessed and highly favored, man. I'm feeling great.
Oh man, that's what up, man. This has been a long time coming. I know we were talking about, man, trying to get this going, and I know you was on you flew out,
right?
And you was going to kind of train a fighter, man, up in Detroit. As well, and so we finally, man, kind of made it happen. So, tell everybody who you are, and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Oh, my name is Rosco Hill. I'm actually really one of the best kept secrets in boxing, but I gotta say I'm one of the most knowledgeable trainers in boxing. I might not be as popular as some, but I'll put my knowledge up against theirs any time or any day because of who I came up with. I came up with legends, and I give them all the props. Every time I teach somebody something, I said, that's not from me. That's from the legend. So I traveled the world with Big George Foreman in the comeback. For those of you who've seen George's movie, there's a part in the movie when George came back, when he was getting on the treadmill, and then all of a sudden he got in the ring with a guy with a blue shirt like this, but it didn't have the boss on it, or you couldn't see the boss, but it was this color. That was yours truly. I was George's speed man, and that's why he couldn't hit that guy. George brought me on as a speed man, and the rest is really history because through George, I met Charlie Shipes, former welterweight champion of the world. Archie Moore, what can I say? The oldest man to win the light heavyweight championship. He was 39 years old. Held it for 10 years. 49. Oh my God. And of course, Angelo Dundee, arguably one of the best boxing trainers. He trained Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, and then later he was on George's team. So I was around those legends, and all I was doing was shutting up and listening. I picked up so much information, so much about boxing. Traveling the world with those guys, it was just so rewarding. And when I mean rewarding, everybody should have that chance to travel the world while gaining knowledge. And the best part, getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's
hey,
the best.
yeah, and doing this, like I said, I came back with George in the comeback. Let me tell you how I first met George. You want me to go there or?
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going. I want to tell you like how you met George, and then what I want to do before we do that. Before we go into the Jokers, we got something I want to show everybody with George. But your son, Rosco Hill Jr., your son, he's preparing to fight in the Olympics in Paris. Like, tell everybody that because they don't know that the Rosco Hill, you guys, his son is now preparing to fight in the Olympics.
Oh yeah. I trained that guy. I taught that guy ever since he was a little pup, and I told him early on. His name is Rosco A. Hill. His middle name is Aaron. So I call him Little A because he has a cousin named Aaron. And his cousin is, of course, bigger than him, so we call him Big A and Little A. But I call Little A, I had Little A since he was about in the 3rd grade, teaching him boxing, punishing him with boxing. When I say punish, when he act up in school, okay, man, you got to do some extra boxing work. You got to push the floor down, which is really push-ups. And then I said, okay, then lay on your back. You can relax, kick your feet, kick back. But I have him kick his feet up and do the 6 inches. That's how them both my sons was boxing whenever they got in trouble in school. And that made them stronger. And made them doing the boxing over and over, made them hold their hands up, stand in boxing position all the time. So, and the knowledge that I was gaining from those legends, I was instilling into them.
So now I want to show everybody something that's a little quick clip that George right now. Here we go.
The shorter they are, the harder it is to get an orthodox jab off on him, and he was playing it real good. He played my jab, but as a rule, it caught up with him. The toll did catch up with him. He's a fine man, brave individual.
Were you happy with what you did tonight?
Well, you know, I'm happy when I win, but he wasn't hurt, and that I'm thankful to God for all that. I'd like to say hello to my sparring partner, Roscoe, down in Houston. He was a middleweight who got me in shape for throwing fast punches. And I'd like to say that I feel overshadowed by you. You're too much of a celebrity. You know, you're a singer and everything, and I'm just a boxer.
And here's a tweet from the champ. He said, Rosco Hill and I started training together ages ago. Same teachers, Archie Moore, Charlie Ships. It was only natural that he would take their place as my trainer. And so I kind of want to throw that out there. Like how did you meet the champ?
Okay, I gotta go way back. It was, I believe, could have been like 80s, 85, 86. I was boxing at the PABA, and it was the Progressive Amateur Boxing Association in 3rd Ward, Houston.
Okay.
And I had 2 stablemates, James Washington and Carl James Dorsey. May he rest in peace. Anyway, I was working with the gas company. Sometimes I get to the gym later than them. But all of a sudden they disappeared and they said, okay, Roscoe, we over at this other gym where George Foreman's brother at. Won't you come there? So I went there and I started training over there. That was Roy Foreman, of course. And we started training over there, and time went by. Roy told me, hey, Roscoe, George did drop by that gym every now and then, and I'd say, hey, hello. I may have seen him once or twice. But Roy came to me and said, hey, Roscoe, my brother's opening the gym. Why don't you come over there? And that's what I said, okay. He told me where it was. And I said, yeah, well, that's closer to me than this. And I said, yeah, no question. I'll go over there. And that's when I went over to the George Foreman Youth Center. How George really recognized me, I was always a fast guy, good balance. You should see my son. He got it from dad. And good balance. What it was, George came in the gym one day and said, see me in the ring, shadow boxing. And he said, man, let me see that jab again. He said, man, you got a good jab. Man, I lost heavyweight championship of the world because I didn't jab. And we didn't go into any discussion about it. But I just was so in awe with him telling me I got such a good jab. So a few weeks went by. Next thing I know, I come to the gym. George Foreman is in the ring, shadow boxing, and said, hey, Roscoe, I think I'm going to take a Swan tour. I said, yeah, okay. And that was the comeback. I remember him telling me, and then I seen it on ESPN. I said, oh, man, he's coming back for real. And, of course, called me. He wanted me to be his speed, man. I was one of the first guys to even spar with him when he came back. Of course, you've seen it in the movie. And it was me. He always called me in a little earlier than everybody else because, of course, I'm faster, quicker hands, quicker feet. And if he can block half of my punches, big heavyweights come in, he can block most of theirs.
Right.
And so that's how I met George. And then we started. He said, yeah, Roscoe, I want you to come to my shows and come with me traveling the world. And that's what I done. Boy. And then, go ahead.
So how did you, I'm curious, because George had this crazy, incredible punching power. And I could only imagine seeing him hit those bags. Seeing him hit those bags, even after he retired, man, he would just kind of shake them on the hinges. Were those punches really? Were they really heavy, pounded punches that we saw? The way he hit, because he just had this incredible punching power. Like, tell us about that punching power, man.
Pretend like Rico. Say you can lift up a telephone pole.
Okay.
Hold it in your arms and jab it at somebody.
God, dog.
That was George Foreman's jab.
Hold on.
Oh, God.
Can you imagine that?
Hey,
You say lifting up a telephone.
That big guy.
Lifting up a telephone pole and jabbing you.
Right.
Oh man, that's just awful. That's awful.
That's awesome. Yeah. And man, so I kept my feet moving, didn't stand in front of them, kept hitting them, getting out of the way.
Right.
Yeah.
So
he caught me a few times. I remember this particular time we were in Marshall. That was one of our training camps. That's where George was born. Right. In Marshall, Texas.
Okay.
And what we were doing was getting ready for a fight. And George, we all built a outside ring with out of straw rope and tree limbs. And I can tell you it was a beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky. We were boxing outside. So the format went, George was sparring with everybody. So he had us lined up. It was about 6 or 7 sparring partners. The only time champ will rest is when one is getting out and the other one is getting in.
Right.
Then his brother will say time again. When the time's up, when the 3 minutes up, he'll say time. Okay, that guy gets out. Here I come. Okay, so I get back I was back into the line, and I said, man, and I see he hitting these guys. Yeah, I said, well, he ain't hitting me like that. I said, man, these guys too slow. They can't do that now. So I got in there. It could have been something like the second time. And what I done, in boxing, they always tell you hands up, chin down. That's how it should have been.
Right.
However, I got in there like that. And messing around with George trying. All of a sudden, I just heard, catch him, Charlie. But I could see that beautiful blue sky. That's how I know that sky was beautiful and it wasn't a cloud in the sky. Yeah. I didn't fall all the way down to the ground, but I was down far enough where Charlie could catch me and hold me and look at and I'm looking at the sky. But what happened was, because I was preparing, George got out of the ring and put Bob in the ring. Bob is he was a 165 pounder, and we call him Windmill Bob because he tries to knock your head off.
Right.
And when I'm teaching classes, I tell people, I use this to tell them how important the jab is.
Right.
Even though I was shook up, I instinctively fell into my position and went to my bread and butter, throwing that jab, keeping all 7 of those bobs off me. And then it was 5 of them. And then there was 3 of them, but I'm still using my jabbing all 3 of them. Then there were 2, and then it was just 1. I said, oh, it's even now. I'm okay. So I was able to jab my way out of there. I was just telling people that jab, I fell into my jab, and that took care of everything. The jab is the most important punch in boxing. And the legends would say, show me a boxer with a good jab, I'll show you a boxer that's hard to beat.
So when it comes to training, let's talk a little bit about your training methods, right? Because obviously, Champ called you to help him and work on the different parts of his game. How did you evolve into a trainer? Like, what was your turning point? But first, before you jump into that, I want to share this picture right here. Here you are with the great Archie Moore, and you're looking great there. And Archie trained you and Big George, and here's a card from me. He says, "Hey, to my favorite young boxer, Rosco Hill Jr. Best wishes, Archie Moore, back in 1990."
Yeah, that autograph took place. We were in London, and a lot of people wanted Archie's autograph, so they set him up a booth, get his autograph. But that was my dad's favorite fighter. He used to always talk about Archie Moore.
Right.
Like, my dad, rest in peace. But I made him so happy when I called Archie on the phone and let my dad talk to him. He was so happy. He couldn't believe it. Excuse my emotion, but hey.
Sorry.
I love my dad, and I love how I can make him smile.
Yes.
But anyway, we were in London, so he signed the autograph for me. I said, yeah, I gotta have one. And give me one for my dad. And he did. And see, that one on the back is to me. But on the front, it's to my dad. So and my dad, so on the front is to me, but the message is to my dad on the back here. So I let my dad keep mine. So the actual picture on the other side. So that's how we got just kind of I kind of kept that one. So I rarely show the picture because it says to Rosco Hill Sr. Yeah.
Man, I know that made your daddy real happy, man, to come back and he had that picture. Like, what was his
favorite boxer?
What was his expression when you gave it to him, man?
I didn't see him. We were ready for a camp. We were doing a camp, and I knew where Archie was. And I was talking to my father. I said, "Man, let me call Archie for you. Let you talk to him." Oh man, that guy. He said, "Yeah, Archie, I remember you used to say after you beat somebody, you need to go back and work a little bit more in the gym." Everything he was saying, all the stuff Archie used to say, he was loving that. So, yeah, I made him smile. He loved that.
So when it comes to your training,
okay,
what's your method on taking the boxer? What does a boxer need? So we talk about if someone say, okay, I want to box professionally. So where do you start them? Where do you start them? How do you start them? What is the mindset that they need to have?
You got to start with your basics. Okay, and along with the basics, you got to learn how to stand. You got to learn how to where your feet should go to make you comfortable. You know, a lot of I've seen so much stuff on Facebook. One guy telling this guy to take a step backwards, and another guy was saying shoulder width apart. All that's wrong.
Walk us through.
Show you. Yeah, but this will tell you how to do it. That's my video. Well, that's a CD copy of it, and it's you can get them online. What's that? Patreon.com/boxing. It'll show you how you're supposed to stand. And the first thing it shows you is how to wrap your hands. Because I want my guys to wrap their hands. I don't want you coming in the gym, jump roping, shadow boxing, and then you sit down and wrap your hands. See, that way you're resting. You don't want to rest. You want to get tired. You want to see how tired you can get. You want to be able to work through that tiredness. So I don't let guys come in and start jump roping, calisthenics, shadow boxing, and then stop and sit down and wrap your hands. That's just you can't relax. You're relaxing like that. You can't relax. Come in, hand wrap. Then you shadow boxing. Jump rope. A lot of them say, "Well, my hands are uncomfortable jump roping." I say, "Don't worry about it. Mine are too. Just keep jumping." And when I say mine are too, one thing about me, I can do. God has blessed me to be able to do everything my fighters need to do. So I lead by example. I tell them to keep up with me. I tell them to do it like I do it. And right now, what I'm giving my guys is this thing called the 5 minutes of funk. That's a warm-up. I call it my warm-up. I tell them to do it. Only a few of them can do it, but it's hard.
Right.
5 minutes of funk consists of, I got a 6-pound jump rope and the ab wheel. And you're a boxer, so keep that in mind. So what I do, I get you real tired. You got 2 minutes to get 100 reps of that 6-pound jump rope and 30 on that wheel. Then you have to jump up, and you have 3 minutes left. You should have, because you only need 2 minutes, and it's 5 minutes of fun. You should have 3 minutes left, and then I want you to throw at least 500 punches. And what I'm teaching them is how to punch while they're tired, because a lot of them can't do it. A lot of them can't do it. And I'm not talking about the guys I'm teaching. I'm talking about a lot of boxers that's getting paid. Cannot do it.
Yeah, we see it.
And sometimes I turn it into the 6 minutes of pleasure, the 5 minutes of fun. On the 6 minutes, you get to sit down. You have 1 minute, like you have in the corner, to breathe the correct way. See, now I'm teaching you how to breathe.
Right.
Breathe the correct way so you can recover. And once you recover, you got to match your punch count that you had 3 minutes after you've done the wheel and the rope, but you're only going to have 2 minutes to do it. And it's pretty hard to catch, and you're going to be hitting the bag also. But the main thing is, once you recover, you shouldn't be that tired. You should be able to get them punches off or come pretty close to it.
So a part of your training, I see this video right here, and I want to share this leg press video. How much?
Guinness World Record for the boy.
Hey, that's a crazy amount of weight. How many pounds were that?
God, I don't know how many pounds. I count the plate. And what it is, if you look at the plates that are going horizontal, they're all together.
Right.
If you look at the plates that's going vertical, there's spaces between them.
Right.
Now, the spaces are, for me, when I'm taking those plates off, I end up smashing my finger, pinching my finger, because I got to get up under the plates are touching. What I do is put 5 pounds or 2.5 pounds in between each plate. If you look at that video and just look at it close and compare the verticals to the horizontals, you can see there's spaces in the vertical.
Let's go back and look at it again.
Okay.
Guinness World Record for the boy.
So I do see the spaces in between there, man.
Right.
Wow.
Those are little plates. So that's weight that I don't count, because I don't count number 45. That could have been a 5. It could have been a 2.5. It could have been a 10. Whatever I can get to put under there, because God has blessed me to be able to do that.
And and now see here you're doing triceps.
Yeah.
Okay. So how effective? If that's effective, how effective is that exercise?
Well, it's effective because, one, I'm holding my feet up and it's strengthening up my core also. My feet are not on the ground. But God has blessed me because those are 50-pound dumbbells each. And what I do with it now, I kind of modified it. I actually let the dumbbells go all the way down when I got them over my head and touch the ground, and then I come back up. But you see, I put it down slowly. I never drop the weight.
Right.
Control the whole. And then when I finish that, I gotta get up and shadow box. Because you want to shadow box. Weights, you want the strength and maybe even the definition some gives, but you don't want the tightness and stiffness that you get with weight. You don't want to be walking like this. You want to be a boxer. You can't do anything. So shadow box immediately after you put that weight down.
So if you're listening, make sure you go at the bottom, you see patreon.com at Boss Boxing. He has a video, a training video. I think there's a little bit of echo. Echo could be on your side there, Roscoe, but the patreon.com /Boss Boxing. He has a training video, and how much is it? How much is it there, Roscoe?
It's $40, but it's worth every bit of it because it shows you how to wrap your hands the correct way. A lot of people don't even know how to wrap their hands. Let me tell you one thing. When you're wrapping your hands, there's a loop on the end of the wrap. But for some reason, some people do put that loop on their thumb, and it is for the thumb, but they go straight to your wrist. No, don't go to your wrist. You're hitting with your knuckles. So the first thing you wrap is your knuckles. You protect your knuckles. Then you support your wrist. After you protect your knuckles, you gotta support your wrist, of course, but you don't want to use too much on your wrist that you don't have enough for your knuckles. You'd rather have too much on your knuckles where you might not have much for your on your wrist. But most of the time, your knuckles is taking all the contact, so that's what you want to protect.
So, your biggest fights of all time. Biggest fights of all time, from your perspective. Give me the top 3 biggest fights of all time. You think are important for us, important in this generation?
Wow, you're talking about
past of all time, biggest fights of all time. 3 biggest fights from your perspective. Because I know the media has their biggest fights, but who would you say? What 2 biggest fights would you say were the biggest fights of all time in your era?
I'm gonna have to say, because I'm gonna have to say George. I'm gonna say George and Ali. But I want to put Ali and Frazier right there too.
Right.
Then I will have to say Leonard Hearns, because they were 2 undefeated bumping heads.
Yeah.
And then I'm compelled to say George Foreman, Michael Moore.
Yep. Good fight.
Hey, George Foreman came back. He lost it to Muhammad Ali, so I got that first from George Foreman, Muhammad Ali, when he lost it in 1974 in October. 20 years. Again, 1994 in October. He regained the heavyweight championships of the world 20 years later. Tell me any boxer, basketball player, football player, hockey player, tennis player, golf player, came back 20 years later and won the championship again. So
nah.
Put that up there.
Yeah. That's a staple in history. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Nobody has done that besides the champ. Yeah. What's the biggest upsets in your opinion in history? Biggest upsets?
Well, of course, the first one should be Douglas Tyson. Nobody was expecting that, but Douglas had everything going in his favor.
Right.
Douglas was a boxer that was known for quitting on the stool. And what I mean by on the stool, like in between the rounds, okay, I sit from here, whatever. He didn't get knocked out. He just quit on the stool, gave up. And Mike Tyson took that as, well, I don't have to train as hard for this guy. So he didn't train as hard. However, 2 things came into play. Buster Douglas always fought overweight, but he got sick in Japan and came down to an ideal weight, 231 pounds. Not only that, Buster Douglas lost his mother while he was in Japan. And I believe this was his significant other, but it was a child of one of his kids or something. The mom had gotten sick. All these things took place. My mom passed. The mom of my kid got sick, and I got sick, but I'm down the way. Hey, I don't have nothing to lose. But I always said about Tyson, but I didn't. Like I said, that was a surprise. Buster beat him. If you could box, you got to be able to box. And Buster Douglas boxed the heck out of him. But the main thing, you can't be scared. Because everybody that could box was scared just about, except Holyfield.
Yep.
So if you can box and not scared, that's going to be fair. That's a major role. Mike Tyson's no trouble for you. But then again, when Georgia came back, well, I mean, George could box. George had a man. If you looked at that George and that Holyfield fight, George boxed that guy. But anyway, yeah, George won a Tyson, and well, we know what happened to Tyson. But that would have been the fight, and that would have been the fight that yours truly would have been working the corner.
How is I'm sorry, I'm getting a little echo. How has boxing evolved over time? What has really changed about boxing, the game, the sport, techniques?
A lot has changed. In fact, there's been a separation in boxing, where I would say the guys, the boxers from the 70s, 80s, 90s, then it stopped. And then these new guys came out. The millennials, the YouTubers, guys teaching boxing, the guys that don't know teaching boxing
right
on YouTube. And they don't know, but they get a lot of people from. Just like that Jake Paul. Jake Paul cannot box. In fact, I know he cannot box because I'm seeing him. And he has to be purchased in these fights. Because I know his fight on December 13th, when he was going to fight, it was the second boxer. The first boxer Jake Paul fought was Tommy Fury, and Tommy Fury beat him easily. Then he was going to fight a guy from here, Andre August. I knew Andre way back. I got in touch with him. Hey, man, let me come in and work with you. I came in and worked with them. And I worked with them for one day. And I was looking at how he was working and how he was doing. And I was saying, no, man, do this. Because like I said, God bless him. I lead by example. Keep up with me. No punches with me. I would put the pad on, of course. And I'll have him throw punches at me. And I said, well, you got to keep me off of it. Whatever it was. You get on the back, you punch the back, keep up. Don't stop. Just stop. Take a break. Get up. I never stopped. God bless me. And so I said, yeah, man, well, I'm going to get you to do like me. Okay, we're training here tomorrow, Roscoe. I'll call you. That's what Andre said. But I got a text from his wife. Oh, we're not training tomorrow. Okay, I'll wait for the next day. Oh, we're not training. So I knew when I looked at that, I said, well, there's something must be wrong. And plus, some is Andre's trainer said, yeah, Jake Paul can punch. I said, what? Jake Paul can't punch? So then I knew when I seen the fight, Jake Paul knocked Andre August so-called out in the first round. I said, man, come on. Jake Paul bought that fight. I even put it on the Jake Paul bought that fight. Because I'm so true to the game from what I learned and who I learned from. I can't let that go over and somebody say I was involved in that. That's why I said what I said.
So when you're looking at prominent boxers, I'm gonna throw you some names of prominent boxers, and in your opinion, I want you to tell me what you think their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. All right. Canelo Alvarez. What is his strengths, his weaknesses, in your opinion as a trainer?
In my opinion, Canelo was a pretty good boxer. But I looked at that. Who's that guy called? Bebo? Whatever. The middleweight, when Canelo went up in weight. Anyway, Canelo was considered pound for pound best right around that time. One of the best pound for pound. Now, in boxing 101, they tell you bring your jab back where it came from.
Right.
Bring it back where it came from. Bebo was jabbing and dropping it for the first 3 rounds. And I looked at that fight and I didn't even look at it anymore. I said, Canelo is either scared of this guy or he fought that fight. Because Canelo is one of the best pound for pound. And you know, boxing 101, when they drop that jab, come over with a right hand. In fact, if you see him, you can come back and just come with your right hand. Bang. And Canelo never done that. In fact, he just threw looping punches. So I don't know. Before that, Canelo was all right because I like the way he figured out Triple G. A lot of people say that second fight was a draw. I said, no, that second fight, Triple G won, that they turned it into a draw. They called it a draw, but Triple G won it. And everybody was saying, no, Triple G beat him. I said, no, Triple G didn't beat that guy. Canelo was getting on the ropes himself and letting Triple G punch. Try to let him punch himself out. However, doing that, Canelo discovered, hey man, this guy can't box. Sorry. This guy can't punch. So if you look at that third fight, Triple G, who's supposed to have been a knockout or artist, who is he knocked out?
Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury.
Hold on, let me finish this Triple G.
Okay.
And he's supposed to be able to knock everybody out. He tried to box Canelo in that last fight. And Canelo just walked him down because Triple G didn't have punching power. Okay, you were saying Tyson Fury?
Strengths and weaknesses.
His strength is he's an excellent slipper. B6'9". So he make you miss a lot. But I don't see no strength really in Tyson Fury. That's why I want to train Deontay Wilder. But see, Deontay Wilder keeps trying the same thing. And you know what? What they say, you keep on doing the same thing over and over and getting the same results.
It's insanity. The definition of insanity. If you keep trying to do the same thing over and over again.
Right. Yeah. Tyson Fury can slip excellently, being 6'9", and he got those knock knees. So of course, it's like you never seen a real good knock knee boxer or knock knee heavyweight. Let me just say heavyweight. He was knocking it, and he couldn't move his feet that fast.
So you would say his weakness is his footwork.
Yeah, because how could a little guy like Usyk almost knock Tyson Fury out?
Right.
And beat Anthony Joshua twice.
Right.
I'm looking right at it. I can't believe what I'm seeing. The legends always told me A good big man will beat a good little man. But that made that statement wrong. So I had to make it right because these legends never steered me the wrong way. And what they say, the operative word there was good. Those guys weren't good. They are good. I gotta say that. They are good. You put some boxers in the 70s up against these guys, they'll blow them out. Larry Holmes will beat them all.
So what do you think about Errol Spence Jr., strengths, weaknesses?
Earl Spence Jr. Back, Earl Spence Jr. and my other Roscoe Hill IV, they were on the same U.S. team. I had two sons fight for the country. Anyway, I would always say after he turned pro, I was saying they were the best two out there. Chance Crawford and Earl Spence Jr. were the best two out there, in my opinion. They were always, so then they called that the super fight. I don't know what happened. I just couldn't believe it. How could two boxers on that level, how could one get beaten down so bad? And Earl Spence did get beaten down bad. But then everybody's talking about this PED guy in the 90s. Changed his company name. Now he's over there messing with Crawford. I don't know. It could be possible. Because Crawford, I seen on one of the social medias, Crawford was on the bench and he pressed 405. I wouldn't say he pressed it. He lifted 405. What he done was, the bar was in the rack. He laid down, laid under the bar, picked it up, and put it back on the rack. He didn't lift it, pick it up, he lifted it up to 405, put it back on it. That's a lot of weight to lift 405, but I gotta say, because I was hitting 120 dumbbells. So, and this was just short, right before the pandemic. Had it not been for Hurricane Alicia and the pandemic, I would still be hitting them 120s. And I'm going to get back at them. But I'm getting to them. I'm getting to them so I can handle, because God is blessing me to be able to do that.
So, now we're going to talk about some permanent guys that's kind of coming up, some rising stars. It's not quite there yet, but they're rising up. What about Shakur Stevenson? What is his strengths and weaknesses?
Shakur Stevenson, what he does is people just complained about his fight he fought last night. Yeah, he won it, but he's not an exciting fighter. He just picks a guy apart. Let me put it that way. That's what he does. He just takes his time, and that'll be, I would say, a week. But he can box, but his weakness is he takes his time and let guys last, and he should try to run through them. Let me put it that way.
What about Devin Haney? Strengths and weaknesses.
Devin Haney has a jab, and I haven't seen it yet, because this is where to throw the jab, and I haven't seen it yet. And Devin Haney's father is a guy that took his son to the gym, and this happens to a lot of guys. A dad takes his sons to the gym, sits down and watches them. First he sits down in the chair, then the next thing you know, a few weeks later, a few months later, or whatever, he's standing up. Then a few months later, he's shouting out instructions. Then a few months later, he comes in with the towel, wiping his son off. Want to tell him this, want to tell him that. He'll pick up things from the gym that he hears and try to have his son do them, and he shouldn't do that because you don't know what you're hearing, especially when you don't know who it's coming from.
So stay right there. I like what you just said because I think that as dads, a lot of dads will want their kids to win, but if they don't have the skill set and the talent, what you're saying is they should turn their sons loose to the pros, to pro trainers, so that their sons can be the best that they could be.
Correct. I agree.
By not doing that, you actually are holding your child back from greatness.
Right, because he don't know. Bill Haney don't know. He can talk good.
Right.
Well, I ain't gonna call that good. He can talk.
Right.
But he don't know boxing. I'm sorry. I tell him this.
What about
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What about Jaron Ennis? Strength and weaknesses.
I really haven't seen him fight really yet, so I can't. But my son Roscoe the Fourth said, "Yeah, man. Yeah, Dad. I like Jaron Ennis." But you know, that's his opinion.
Right.
I want to see him when he. I haven't seen him really box. I know he's from Philly. I know his dad's training him. You know, that could be the same as the Devin Haney deal. You know, because his dad's training him. One time, I seen some pad work, and you know, a lot of people. Pad work is just like patty cake. You know. Some people treat it like patty cake. It's easy. I ain't gonna say it's easy, but it's the way to do it. Let me put it that way.
What about Virgil? What about Virgil Ortiz Jr.?
I'm not too sure about him. I haven't seen him.
Okay.
But I kind of like what's the other guy with the brother? The other Hispanic guy.
Ryan Garcia?
No, not Garcia. A little heavier, middleweight. Real popular.
David Benavidez?
Is it Benavidez?
Yeah, David Benavidez.
Yeah, he got a brother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, back last Thanksgiving, they fought that Friday night, and Twin was on the card. One of the twins. Twins are from here. The twins are pretty good boxers, too. In fact, yeah, Benavidez, I was liking him by the way he was throwing his punches. But when I seen Twin on that fight, Twin was the best boxer on that card. They showed Twin's fight and Benavidez's fight. I said Twin was the best boxer on that card. So, yeah, but see, Twin been having some types of issues. I'm not really sure what they are. And it, he couldn't box. He couldn't compete for some reason. And but he came back last Thanksgiving, but I haven't heard anything else from him yet. So, and that's Big Twin. And I was surprised because Little Twin was the better boxer when they were coming up because I've been seeing them guys as they came up. But Big Twin looked so good in that Thanksgiving night. I believe it was that Friday after Thanksgiving. I said, man, yeah. So whatever he was going through, he had taken a layoff and he had gotten back. But now I'm not sure what the problem is. He's still not fighting, but that was a good fight he fought. He was the best boxer on that card, including Benavidez. Because I believe he beat up Benavidez' brother.
So our time is winding down. So what I want you to do is kind of give us some ending last words that up and coming boxers need to know. Like if you had a couple minutes to share something with boxers that are in the ring that are trying to make a progression towards being a pro, what are some short strategic tips or a message that you want to give them before you get out of here?
I tell them come and see me so I can show them how to breathe. Allow me to know how to breathe. It's just that simple. Yeah. It's bad. See, I really want Deontay Wilder. So if anybody out there knows how to get in touch with Deontay Wilder, even though I sent him one of my videos, I don't know if he looked at it. He should have, but I don't think he did because the way he was still throwing that jab, oh my God. Tell him to get in touch with me so we can get his championship back. I know he got beat by the big guy, but you beat yourself up.
Well, Dundee, man, he was tracking up with, man, but I think that ego, man, that he got a ego, getting the right trainer, man, in place, man, and
he got to Deontay Wilder got to listen. That's what he got to do. I remember Mark Breeden talked to him, and I asked Mark Breeden, "Hey, let me come and help you out," and he was saying, "Yeah, but he's not gonna listen." You know, but Mark Breeden is welterweight, and I remember I was training George Foreman the fourth. Oh, George Foreman the third. I'm sorry, I trained the fourth too, but the third. I trained him. George Foreman the third was like 6'4", 240. Ended up with a 16-0 record. Now he's 17-0 because he came back at 39-40 and fought somebody. Now he's 17-0. But his first 16 fights, I was the trainer in his corner. But anyway, he's a heavyweight, of course, 240. Anyway, I was training him, and George was teaching. And at this one particular time, George was telling Monk to do something. So I went to George and I said, "Hey, champ, you told Monk to do this, but Charlie and Archie told me to do that." I said, "Why is that?" And he answered it simple and it made more sense than anything. He said, "Roscoe, it's a whole different world. Like heavyweight and welterweight. That's a whole different world. Whole different world. They do two different things. And that's why I training with George. I can see, and training with the fourth, I know how to train a heavyweight. I know how that should work. Especially sitting around those legends while they was doing it. Look at this. Look at this. Archie Moore. Yeah, Roscoe, hold on. Just look at this. Wait a minute. Do it like this. Do it like this. And Archie Moore getting that knowledge. And Charlie Shipes. Oh, my God. I call him the boxing encyclopedia. In fact, a lot of people don't know this, but, you know, and this goes on a lot. You know, Charlie Shipes taught George how to box. Right. Dick Standard was the trainer and owned the gym, but Charlie Shipes was the teacher and the trainer. Just like 1984, that team came out, that super team with Whitaker, Holyfield, the other one went to Lou Duba.
Right.
And they called Lou Duba the trainer. That wasn't the case. George Benton taught those guys. But it was Lou Duba's gym, Lou Duba's whatever, so it's Lou Duba. So, and that's going on a lot now too. But no. Let me take that back. That's going on, but it's not similar. Just a guy who owns a gym calls himself the trainer and calls himself training people. And he doesn't know. There's a lot of guys opening up gyms, calling themselves trainers, and getting lessons from USA Boxing, which aren't really correct. Or I'll say, helpful for a boxer to understand. Let me put it that way. Because and, you know, in order, and you got to go through USA Boxing to work an amateur corner. And one of the, I had to listen to a little video by one of the coaches. He was saying, yeah, you should teach a fighter to fight both ways. The legends told me, don't start off boxing both ways. Reason being, because they always gave me a reason. If you try to start off both ways, you get tired, in trouble, you're going to be squared up, trying to decide which way to turn. And when you're square, you're a big target, and your punches are short. So you're going to get hit. You're square. Get one side down pat first, and then go two ways. Don't try to box two ways all at the same time.
Want to tell you that I definitely, we got to wrap up. Instagram is already kind of disconnected the stream. They don't let me go an hour on Instagram. But I want to say, man, I appreciate you for coming, taking the time to come. Then maybe we'll do a part 2.
Yeah, we can do a part 2, man.
And if you watch it, I want you to hold on. If you watch it, make sure you go to patreon.com, Boss Boxing, to pick up the video that he has. Talk a little bit about the video, maybe a minute or so. What's in the video?
First thing you do, go on that video. First thing is going to tell you how to wrap your hands. However, the only thing in that video is those were 108 wraps. So I would tell you to go to between your two middle fingers. However, get 180. Don't get to 120s. Get to 180. Don't get to 108. You go through all of your fingers. It doesn't matter which order, but go through all of your fingers. That way, you'll have more protection on your knuckles, and you'll have more support where the wrap won't slide. So I want you to don't go anywhere. Yeah, I still got this echo for some reason. So I'm gonna put you down here. Hold on, don't hang up. We're gonna come back. I'm gonna end the show, but I'm gonna come back to you. Okay. Okay. All right. Hey, thank you for joining me in the box. Appreciate you. If you have an opportunity, make sure you go and subscribe to the channel. And I look to see you guys next Friday. All right. You have a great day. Bye now.